Hello, friends. This is Royce of the Royce in the House YouTube channel. And tonight we're going to be talking once again about the Fillmore East, an iconic live concert venue in New York City. And this is my playlist live podcast. Every Sunday we do a live podcast, music-based podcast. Sometimes it's interviews with musicians. Sometimes we just have a show based on certain musicians, certain genres of music and things of that nature. So tonight we're going to be talking about the Fillmore East, as I've stated, and I've kind of like to have a few more of our friends show up before we get too heavily into it. Angela, how are you? Good to see you here, Angela. All right. Let me say hi to a couple of people real quick here. Okay. All right, so we're gonna get right into it here, and what I want to show first, Record Hound. Hey, how you doing, Record Hound? Okay, the first thing I'm going to show, the first album I'm going to show, recorded live at the Fillmore East, and this particular album is considered by everyone to be the holy grail of live albums. Now we're talking about a group of albums that is 50 strong. At least 50 albums were recorded live at the Fillmore East. And we've just been joined by the one and only Michael Nolan YouTube channel, The Bottom Line. If you're not a subscriber, you better get on over there because, boy, this show has grown. What do you have, Michael, like 28,000 subscribers now or more?
Yeah, we just hit 28,200 actually, Royce, and we're about halfway to 3. So, yeah, we've had good growth, and I feel really blessed. I really do. And you know what? All along, throughout the channel's growth, you knew me when I was nobody, and you've always been there, brother. I appreciate your support. I really do.
No, I know you do, Michael. I appreciate yours as well, and I want you to know that you'll always have my support. And I give you a great shout out because you've got a great show, man. You do a fantastic job. You're very
well. So do you, Royce.
Prepared, when you.
Yeah, I love your show. Otherwise, I wouldn't be here. I really do. I think you've got a quality show going on here. You know what? I wanted to mention something about my channel that's brand new, and a shout out to Larry from Canadian Stud Muffin.
Oh yeah,
Through some correspondence with him. All of us channels, we want to get to that 1,000 mark, right? We want to get monetized, and I freely admit that. That's been my goal all along, is to monetize the channel and go full time. I thought I'd be full time by last September, and I'm finally making that jump. And with Larry's help over at Canadian Stud Muffin, he gave me some advice on it and everything, because we don't make as much on channels as we did even 6 months ago from ads. A lot of channels are experiencing this, and only part of the problem is that because of the downturn in economics, less people are showing their commercials on YouTube right now. And so in order for me to truly put 100% of my time into the channel, which is what I've been building up to do, is I've decided to start my own Patreon. But with this Patreon, for $3 a month to support the channel, because I'm getting tons of people who are going, what can I do? I mean, I'm getting emails, I'm getting it in the comments to support this channel, And thank you, Stormcop55. I mean, some of these people have been wanting more. And so what I'm doing is there's 2 levels. You can join the tribal council and actually have voting power on what I'm going to present on my channel. All right.
Okay.
You'll have access to videos that if they do show up on my channel, you get them first on certain videos, and certain videos will only be available on Patreon.
Yeah.
Now, with the whole voting
Exclusive
thing,
Patreon. Yeah. Right.
yeah.
Right. You
And
know,
then
Michael,
every,
that's very, very common. And I think
yeah.
most channels, once they reach a certain amount of subscribers, do have a Patreon account.
Oh yeah,
So
yeah.
my,
You almost have to these
yeah.
days, Royce, if you're going to do it full time. And but I wanted to offer something in return, and I think the voting power
Yeah.
plus shout outs on
Right.
the videos that show up on my Patreon, whether they
Right.
go to the
Right.
main channel or
Sure.
not.
Right.
Every patron will be shouted out at the end of those videos. All right. So it'll be an immediate feel. It'll give
Oh
the
yeah.
patrons a bit of power. That's why I call it the council,
Sure.
the tribal
Council.
council.
I like
And
that.
then I have a $7 membership, which will include all of that plus some live streams. And here's why I built this up on your channel tonight, Royce. And thank you for allowing me to do so.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Uh, all of what I mentioned there, but for an extra, what is it, $4 a month, you not only help the channel, support the channel. What I do with that money is I upgrade everything you see. All right.
Right.
And right now, my big thing is to get sound so much better,
Okay.
And anyway, the whole idea of it is to empower. And of course, that $7 membership, you are a tribal elder. All right.
Tribal
And I
elder.
would love it. I would love it. This is an open invitation. I would love it to be the premier live video for the account. And I would love to have specifically, because we have such great chemistry. I'd love to have you and Dan and Bruce from the R&B show as a
Absolutely.
live thing, interacting with some of the Patreon accounts and everything, some of the subscribers and all of
Yeah.
that.
Right.
So anyway, that's why I brought it up tonight, because
Yeah.
this channel here, folks, this channel is my home away from home. I love Royce. I really do.
Thanks,
And
brother.
thank you, Royce,
Appreciate
for
that very much.
supporting me all along. I do
All
appreciate
along.
it.
Always.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you, Michael. And let's all support Michael and keep supporting Michael. I want to say that Dan McNew, just the facts, he's in the chat right now, but he's still a little under the weather. He wasn't feeling good enough to
Hi,
come on and
Dan.
co-host. Now, if you're feeling any better, yeah, he says he's out sick tonight, but not COVID. Somebody must ask him if he had COVID or not. So, okay, well, thank you very much, Michael. I really appreciate
Good.
you sharing all of that with us.
Oh,
And
well, no, thank you
are,
for allowing me to share it.
oh, no,
It was on your dime, brother.
no, you're always welcome, man. You're always welcome.
Thank
And
you.
we've been together on our original Fillmore East live podcast. And what
Yep.
we're doing tonight is really I'm more focused on just showing my own personal collection of albums.
Right.
It's not that big, but I've got some albums here from the Fillmore East live, and there was over 50 albums have been made from the Fillmore East. It was only open for 3 years,
Wow.
from 68 to 71. 50 live albums were produced. Now, and the reason that so many were produced at the Fillmore East was because of owner producer Bill Graham. This man demanded excellence. I mean, not only in his staff, but the performances, the venue, the sound system. What did he have? He had something like a $35,000 sound system, an amazing lighting system. And you mentioned that on the last show. You brought up did the Fillmore West. Bill Graham, in case people don't know, Bill Graham owned the Fillmore West in San Francisco, so he wanted to open one up on the East Coast as well. And everybody who was anything played there, and many played there many times. Grateful Dead was almost like a house band, and the Allman Brothers, and everybody, I mean everybody, played there. And I can read a little list of that later, but first I want to go through the albums. But I will mention that Doug Clifford from Creedence Clearwater said one night they did 17 encores. The crowd just wouldn't let them leave. They loved it so much. And Bill Graham was so impressed, he bought every member of that band a gold watch for doing that.
Wow.
And I think that's a cool story. So I'm going to start out with what is considered by most people, that it's what I've always heard, was that this album is the holy grail from the Fillmore East. And that is the Allman Brothers Band at Fillmore East. And this is an absolutely amazing recording. It's a 2-album set. And of course, it's all blues based. You know, you've got, for example, on side 1, Stratsboro Blues, Done Somebody Wrong, Stormy Monday. That's a great song.
Oh, yeah.
Then, you know, side 2.
I haven't heard a bad one yet, Royce.
No, this is great. You know,
I mean, think of these tracks, man. Think of these tracks. They're all gold.
And they're all
gold.
Know? Yeah, absolutely.
They're all gold. Yeah.
Absolutely. And, you know, side 2, you get into You Don't Love Me. That's a 19-minute song. That's the entirety of side 2. But before I say another word, Angela, who's in the chat, my dear friend Angela, mailed this to me. Angela sent this to me. And Angela, I just want to thank you so much. I've always wanted vinyl. It's just not the same on a CD. You know, I don't care what anybody says. There's something special about the vinyl. I play my vinyl all the time. I was playing some of these albums tonight, and night before last I was playing them. And so anyway, my collection is building. There may be a day where I do another show on my album collection if it gets much bigger. But anyway, so this Live at the Fillmore East is the absolute holy grail of live concerts there, and we're talking about a lot of them. So anyway, Angela, once again, I want to thank you. I really appreciate this. And what I'm going to do now is pull out a new one, and that is, I mean, let me get on this side. That is Machine Gun by Jimi Hendrix. And this is a recent acquisition. It's a double album set, and it's got some interesting things here. Power of Soul, Lover Man, Hear My Train A-Comin'. Who doesn't love that song, Hear My Train A-Comin'? Oh, no. And his acoustic version of that on the 12-string acoustic is just, it's the only video ever of him playing an acoustic guitar.
Yeah.
Changes, Isabella, Machine Gun, Stop, Easy Rider, Bleeding Heart, Earth Blues, Burning Desire. Okay, now there was something in here. This is Jimi Hendrix at Fillmore East. The first show, December 31st, 1969. This was the very first show at the Fillmore East. No, I'm sorry. It was Hendrix's first show. But what I want to read to you is something I found on the inside, and I think it's worth hearing if you're at all a fan of the Fillmore East or Jimi Hendrix. Of course, it's a gatefold. But what this says up here is, okay, Bill Graham's Fillmore East presents Jimi Hendrix, Buddy Miles, and Billy Cox. And I met Billy Cox. They were doing a tribute to Hendrix at the Arlington Theater in Santa Barbara, and Billy Cox was in the lobby signing guitar straps.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Bass player Billy Cox, and I didn't get one. I just, you know, I hate to even think about I didn't get one. What was it, like a $12 or an $18 guitar strap, you know, with Billy Cox signature from the band, the Gypsies on it? Kicked myself. And anyway,
what was the price for it, Royce?
It was like, I can't, it was like 12 or 18 bucks, something like, it was under $20.
Huh.
Yeah. And so anyway, so that was Billy Cox there doing that. I was really bummed when later. But also Buddy Miles. Now I saw Buddy Miles. He had his own band, you know, he was a drummer. And it was the only time in my life I ever saw a drummer front a band. The drum set sat at the front of the stage and everybody was behind Miles. He had that album out, Them Changes, you know. He's got this huge afro, you know, and he's a big guy, and he sat up there and just wailed on those drums, and he was really good too. But anyway, let me finish.
Well, didn't they set Buddy Rich earlier up front quite a bit?
Well, I would say yes with Buddy Rich. Yeah.
Because all the videos I've ever and talk about the only drummer to challenge John Bonham. when I've looked at those, oh man, what a freaking drummer, man.
Oh yeah, no,
Oh
that's right.
God, he could do it all
Yes, he could.
and
So
the
okay, so
impossible.
Bill Graham's Fillmore East presents Jimi Hendrix, Buddy Miles, and Billy Cox, who will appear in this recently formed group, Jimi Hendrix, a Band of Gypsies, on Wednesday. They performed December 31st, 7:30, and then 10:30. So they would do like two shows, you know. But then they came back Thursday on January 1st and did an 8 o'clock and an 11:30 p.m. show. Okay, it's been a long dream of Jimi Hendrix, and if the present run of groups splits up and reforms in any indication of many other top rock musicians, this has been a long running dream of Jimi Hendrix to have the freedom to play with other groups and other artists. It's out of this wish that Jimi Hendrix, a Band of Gypsies, was born. Only 1 month old, the group will function without binding contracts between them so that musicians can come together or drift apart without any hassle according to their own needs. It's with this flexibility and understanding among them that Jimi Hendrix, Buddy Miles, and Billy Cox will be playing together as Jimi Hendrix, a Band of Gypsies at Fillmore East on New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. So, I mean, I think that's amazing. Here's a like almost like a copy of a poster down here. Happy New Year, Jimi Hendrix, a Band of Gypsies. You know, it also playing is Grateful Dead, Lighthouse, and you know, and then also Cold Blood and the Joshua Light show they have there, of course. So anyway, this is pretty amazing, and there's so much history at the Fillmore East. It's just incredible.
Yeah.
So the next,
I love their whole premise. No contracts, you know.
yeah, yeah,
No,
guys could just drift in and out. They weren't
yeah,
locked together so much, you know.
yeah,
And
yeah.
let's
As
see.
long as everything was split evenly, you know. I mean, that's a
Right.
I could really get into that kind of arrangement, you know.
Yeah, no, that's exactly right. Yeah, they must have had a pretty good deal worked out. And you know
Yeah.
what? With some of these guys, it wasn't so much about the money. I mean, Hendrix would get like an allowance from his people, his handlers, you know. And I don't know how much of an allowance it was or anything. But uh, what I want to show next, and this is kind of like a chairman of the board, like Frank Sinatra was in his day. And this is um, Mothers of Invention live at the Fillmore. Frank Zappa, of course, Mothers. And this is June 1971 at the Fillmore East. And Frank Zappa, what a character! I mean, if you've never listened to Frank Zappa, you owe that to yourself because he gets really out there sometimes, but he's a fantastic musician. Let's see, I've got all this. I save these now. I've been told to save all the shrink wrap and the notes and stuff. But okay, so let's take a look. Another once again, this is a gatefold. There's Frank, chairman of the board. Okay, and then we've got the marquee here saying Zappa, uh, and the Birds, and Blood Rock, and Moby Grape. You know, so this is pretty amazing. I'm not going to pull it all apart, but I want to show you that it's this is a three-album set. Three-album set. I'm about to lose control of here. So this is a piece you haven't seen over here, and there's all kinds of cool notes here and stuff too, and
Oh, that couldn't be by Zappa.
yeah, no, it's all by Zappa
Uh,
for sure.
yeah, it is. Man.
And were you a fan of Zappa, Michael?
You know, it's interesting. When I've listened to him, big fan. There's nothing I've heard by him that
Yeah,
I don't like immediately. But he would have been too freaky for me. And I had an
yeah.
older friend by 1 year, right? His name was Co Burnett,
Okay.
and he loved Zappa. And he showed me the piece where Zappa sings, "Billy was a mountain, Loretta was a tree growing by his side." And ever since then, but I just, after that, I mean, I love him, but I never really collected him. But I
Yeah,
know he's a
and
genius.
I became a bigger fan because of the Fillmore East.
Yeah,
And
I guess so. Huh?
I have not owned a lot of Zappa vinyl in my life or CDs or
Right.
anything else. I mean, I listened to him, I liked him, but I wasn't I didn't buy his music for a lot of years.
Oh
But
yeah.
this kind
But
of kept.
I loved him.
Yeah,
I even love his story. I mean, talk about the godfather of the
yeah.
canyon, you
Oh,
know.
Laurel Canyon, yeah, and
Yeah.
that great story with Alice Cooper.
Yeah. I mean, basically, he was responsible. I don't know that he so much discovered him, uh,
Right.
but I love that whole story because after they were done and showing up 12 hours early
Yeah.
because of a mistake, uh, he told the band, you know, I don't get you at all. And that's why I'm going to sign you.
Right.
That's genius, man. Because
No, no,
Alice
no. That,
Cooper,
that how cool is that? Look
yeah,
at
because Alice Cooper was a legit find, and
oh yeah.
Alice Cooper is one of the total gods of rock.
Oh
The
yeah,
band,
I saw
the
him.
old
I saw him
band.
in April. I saw him live in
Yeah,
April. What a great show! It wasn't that
yeah,
big
and
of a venue. It was
I
that. It
love
was that.
Alice Cooper, the man, his
Yeah.
act. He's done
Right.
some good stuff. But when
Right.
I talk about Alice Cooper, most of the time, just to insert the Alice Cooper band,
Right.
because
No, no, that's right.
that period, those are genius albums.
Right.
And I will defy anybody on the planet to say that Alice Cooper isn't one of the very best lyricists in rock.
No,
And I put him right up there with Lennon and McCartney at their best.
I was listening to him in high school. Yeah.
Yeah.
His
Awesome.
this is a great comment here by Man of Many Voices. Buddy's staccato drum sound,
Yeah.
like a machine gun
Yeah.
burst. I was just listening to that a couple of hours ago. You're absolutely right. Um, 51 drum battle with Gene Krupa and Buddy Rich live. Wow, wow,
Whoa.
that would be an amazing thing to hear, Chris.
Battle of the Titans.
Oh yeah, and I remember seeing things like that. When I was much younger on TV.
Yeah,
Buddy
me too. That's how I knew him. You know,
Buddy Rich would come on the late night shows and things like that.
right.
Yeah. Well, we're getting a lot of people in the chat we got Caitlin Stoddard here. She popped in. Caitlin loves Cooper.
Yes, he is, Caitlin.
She's really into Cooper, and he's for good reason too. And yeah, I am too. Ever since
Yep.
like when I saw him, actually got to see him live in concert this year. Uh, yeah, I guess it was last year now. Time's flying by a little too fast here. Record Hound, Man of Many Voices. That was a bad move. That set Royce has as a show. FZ recorded it. Okay. All right. So let's see here. All right. I think we're getting kind of caught up here, but I gotta say a couple of things here about this. This is not just a 3 album set of from Frank Zappa. This is the Fillmore East 1971 50th anniversary expanded edition. 50th anniversary.
Wow,
So,
nice.
and
So you got some extra tracks there, right?
yeah, produced for release by Ahmet Zappa and Joe Travers. Now I know Joe Travers. He's called the Vault Meister. He keeps track of all the recordings of Zappa's, and he was the drummer for Frank Zappa. He was on another show that Caitlin and I and Dan, just the Facts Man, and a bunch of us all went to for a while. That kind of imploded. Even that poster behind me with Dirty Royce, kind of a parody of Dirty Harry, came from that show. and anyway, so Travers, Joe Travers is the vault master, and he's listed here too. And anyway, so there's a bunch of extra tracks here, so this is really cool. And I've listened. I haven't gotten through all 3 albums yet. I got to be honest about that. I've gotten through one of the 3. It's kind of a recent acquisition. Okay, so the next thing I want to show is one of my favorite artists, and this is Neil Young. Neil Young and Tracy. And you can
What
see
year?
also on the marquee, you've got Miles Davis, you've got John Mayall, you've got the Moody Blues, you've got Joe Cocker and Brian Auger, all on that same marquee advertising Neil Young. Doesn't that just blow your mind? I mean, when do you see stuff like that? So
What
this,
year was that brought out, Royce? Or what year did the recording happen?
well, let's see here. Like all of these albums, there's so much stuff inside. I'm sure it's in here. I don't remember, off the top of my head, but Neil Young with Crazy Horse, Miles Davis Quintet, and the Steve Miller Blues Band. How crazy is that? Okay, let me take a look here, see if we can find that. Let's see.
By
Nowadays,
the way, I just looked this up. Your the Band of Gypsies is considered the number three. No, was it? Where was it? Here, the Mothers of Mothers Fillmore East was number five of the greatest Fillmore recordings in
oh,
the top
okay,
10,
okay,
and Hendrix was number two.
and that was that
Band of
Band of
Gypsies.
Gypsies. Okay,
Band of Gypsies is number two. And we're coming up on number one, I'm sure. Well,
okay,
no, we already covered it, didn't we?
okay. Allman Brothers, yeah,
Allman Brothers Live. That's the
Allman
number
Brothers,
one. That's
number
considered the
one.
number one
Yeah.
recording. Yeah.
Yeah, I call that the Holy Grail. And once again, there's Angela commenting. I want to thank you again, Angela. I really appreciate you sending me that. Um, it's such a great album. It means a whole lot to me. Okay. We get caught up a little bit here with the folks. Looking forward to seeing Alice Cooper in August. Oh, okay. That's awesome. I'd go see him again. I'd go see him again, and I'd go see him again next year too. I mean, you know who's coming to the Chumash Casino, our little Chumash Indian casino here? Three Dog Night's coming in August. And
Who's in it?
No, that's what I'm going to look up before I get too excited.
Ah,
Yeah, yeah. I mean, is there any originals? Just one original, or is there?
well, I know at least one of the original three. If you're talking about, see, to me, Three Dog Night was the three and their four band members behind him. It was a 7-member band originally. Remember those albums? All
Yes.
right. And
I
then
have 4 or 5
the
of
three
them.
sing, yeah. And each of the singers would get their own song and the other two backing them up. That
Right.
now, to me, that's Three Dog. And later on, Shambhala and all of that crap, and they became a pop outfit, right? So I didn't care for what they evolved into.
Okay.
But they were selling records.
They were
Occasional,
they were pretty hot. I mean, I really enjoyed them.
yeah.
For a while
But to
there.
me, with Three Dog Night is Eli's Coming,
Eli's
One,
Coming. One
all
is the
right.
loneliest number. Yeah.
Mama Told Me Not to Come.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
They were a valid rock act at
No, they
first, and then
were.
they
Yeah.
then they turned into pop stars, man. It was sad.
Right. Okay. So yeah, yeah. We don't need everybody to turn into pop stars.
Too many have, unfortunately.
Yeah,
You know,
movies and real
and that was
comedy.
the exact, rock becoming pop is the exact opposite of what happened with the Beatles. They were pop rock,
Right. No, that's
definitely,
right.
but pop and
Right.
became rock.
That's right.
Redefined rock. So that's growth. So when anyone else does it the opposite way, doesn't it make sense that artistically, anyway, that they might
Right.
just be making a mistake? These so far the albums you've shared tonight, Royce, out of all of them, I don't see a damn pop star there. Now watch you pull out one, but
Well, no, no, no.
but you know what I'm saying? To me, that's my whole thing with rock and roll. It's an art form, and we should protect it.
Right. No, that's right. Well, anyway,
Diatribe over, folks.
I was trying to find what year this came out. The Neil Young with Crazy Horse.
Yeah.
And
Yes, he was, Dan.
yeah, yeah, I saw that comment. I had to put it back up for everybody to see again. I'm really not seeing it pop out at me here when this. Okay, I'm sorry, 1970. This was done.
Oh, good time to have seen it. Yeah.
Right.
That's them raw and at their best, man.
Right. So anyway, there's a lot of great stuff on here, obviously, and I'm a big Neil Young fan.
Oh, me
A lot,
too.
a lot of a lot of people kind of turned against him when he got in a fight with Joe Rogan on Spotify or something like that. I don't know if you
Well,
remember
I
that.
don't like the man's politics,
Yeah,
but I
it
never
happened.
let. Yeah, I never let anybody's politics get in my way or lifestyle. You know,
Yeah,
I'm a heterosexual, but I loved Freddie Mercury. He was one of my
right.
favorite artists. Elton John, at least
Elton
classic
John.
Elton John, it
Right.
was one of my. I was a fan,
Yeah.
and
And I was too. And I saw
I
him in
loved
concert
Neil Young.
before he even came out. I saw him in concert, and I saw
Yeah,
him afterward at the Forum,
yeah,
Forum in Las Vegas, the $1 Million
yeah.
Camp. Well,
Oh yeah,
Speaking of Elton John, not Elton John, I'm sorry, but Joe Cocker. You mentioned Joe Cocker, and
yep.
here's Joe Cocker's "Mad Dogs and Englishmen," filmed live at the Fillmore East.
Yep.
And this is really good. I mean, let's see. We've got Honky Tonk Woman. Let's see. Let me slip my glasses on here real quick. I'll just stumble so much through this. Of course, that was written by Mick Jagger and Keith Richards. Sticks and
That
Stones.
was the number 4 album on the list right there, buddy.
Okay, right on.
One of the top 4 recordings from, by the experts anyway.
Yeah,
I cheated. I did my homework, folks, because I don't have these albums. I had to bring something to the company.
bring something. Yeah, yeah, knowledge. Bring some knowledge. Cry Me a River,
uh,
Bird on a Wire, Feeling All Right. That's a great song, Feeling All Right.
oh,
Superstar,
yeah.
Leon Russell, introduction, Let's Go Get Stoned. Uh, side,
Okay.
that's sides 1 and 2. This is a double album set once again. I'm drowning my own tears. I'll drown in my own tears when something's wrong with my baby. I've been loving you too long. An Otis Redding song. I love that song by Otis Redding too. Girl from the North Country, Bob Dylan. Give Peace a Chance, Leon Russell and Bonnie Bremlett. I can't. Yeah, okay. She came in through the bathroom window. John Lennon, Paul McCartney song.
Mm,
Space Captain, The Letter, Delta Lady, written by Leon Russell. This is great. I mean, God dang. Here we are, man. Double album set.
mm.
Double album set. Joe Cocker, Mad Dogs and Englishmen. I bought that the same night I bought Joe Cocker's self-titled album, just Joe Cocker, and that's a great one
Hmm.
too. I took it back because one song had a little skip in it, and the guy gave me another one. They had 4 or 5 copies, and let me keep the one that had a little skip. And he goes, "Just keep that one. Here's another one."
So you gave it to Richie.
Yeah. Well, let's see. I'm trying to decide which one to show next. So I think what I'm going to do, only because you've brought it up already, I'm going to show my first pressing, 1970 first pressing of Band of
Mm.
Gypsies. And you know I'm a big Hendrix fan, but
Oh yeah.
this is a first pressing from 1970,
Oh
filmed
man.
live at the Fillmore East, recorded New Year's Eve, 69 and 70 at the Fillmore East in New York, produced by Heaven Research. Okay, so anyway, so we have side one again. Of course, it's Buddy Cox, Buddy Miles, and Billy Cox. And if I'm not mistaken, Billy Cox was someone he met when he was in the military. He was a paratrooper, Jimi Hendrix, and
Hmm.
he actually got injured and was and they turned him out. And it wasn't he didn't have a problem with being in the military. He actually kind of liked it, I guess.
He had actually made quite a few jumps by the time I didn't he break his foot or ankle or
So yeah,
something
something
like
like
that?
that on the jump. Yeah, and
Yeah.
I can tell you for a fact that I have broken an ankle at the same time shattered a heel bone coming
Yeah.
off a roof that I was framing when someone
Yeah.
pulled something out from underneath me. And all my injuries came from people that were working with me, in construction. But anyway, but I know about that foot and that ankle. I'm reminded every day of my life.
Mhm.
It's just something. I mean, I don't get me wrong. I don't baby myself. I mean, I since that happened, I ran a half marathon from San Luis Obispo to Avila Beach, 13 point whatever miles without stopping. So, But I tell you what, every single day I know about it. Certain things, if I'm out, if I'm shoveling and twisting on that foot, I'll wake up the next day and it's like my ankle doesn't even want to bend, you know. So there are times when it's worse. But you know what? It seems like with age, it's actually gotten better, not worse.
Yeah.
You know. But anyway, so I know what that's like. So anyway, so this is Band of Gypsies. Great album. I haven't seen a
I'm
Hendrix.
still here, Royce. I just wanted to see if
Okay.
I can clear it.
Okay. Yeah, Angela, I'm with you. I love Joe Cocker too. What a great artist. The first time I saw Joe Cocker, I think it was the first time, was the movie on Woodstock. And he had, I thought there was something actually physically wrong with him, the way he was moving his arms and stuff. Do you know what I'm talking about, Michael? It was really,
Oh, yeah, yeah. But you know what? I always saw him. That was the music. Just it was how he felt it,
I know. Yeah.
and I
No,
think
and
it.
I,
You know, he this kind
yeah,
of thing. But
great.
it somehow it was valid. I just
Yeah,
got
no, I
off
know.
and cleaned my lens because I noticed how come Royce looks like he's in a room and I look like I'm in a room that's filled with smoke. So
That's
it's
funny.
what happens when you use your iPad, man.
Right. Look at Record Hound here has got a promo of Mad Dogs and Englishmen. How cool is
Ooh,
that? And incidentally, Record
yeah.
Hound got a good channel, a good YouTube channel. I think everybody needs to go over there and check out my buddy Record Hound. Um, he's doing really well over there. And of course, Caitlin Stoddard. I always say our own Caitlin Stoddard because we've been on other shows together and we've come through a lot of stuff together. So anyway, Caitlin's got a great show, and Michael has
Yes.
been to it a few times. And I tell you what, it has really developed into a cool show with a nice chat going on,
Yeah,
and
she's grown her following quite a bit just in the last couple of months.
and she does so much cool stuff on it now. Puts so much up on the screen for you to look
Yeah,
at, talk about,
yeah.
and it's really cool. I really enjoy it.
Now
Oh,
she's evolved her whole approach. It's clear. Yeah, and when you see it as a content creator and you know the work that goes in to her to actually up
yeah,
her game like she has,
yes.
I'm color me impressed, Caitlin. That's all I can say.
Color me impressed too. Yeah,
And you can tell him the professor says so. That's what she always calls me on her stream.
I know. I've seen that. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, this
And the professor chooses ginger.
right, right, right. Record Hound, you're quite welcome. Yeah, you've got a great YouTube channel. Yeah, check him out, folks. Check
Yes,
out
it
Record
does.
Hound. You're gonna like
Yep.
it. You're gonna like it. Joe started out as a drummer, so that's why he moved. Did air guitar, all that. Okay.
Ah, cool. I didn't know he started off as a drummer. Interesting.
No, and I didn't either. Angela's just full of rock and roll facts. I'm telling you. Um, yeah, Caitlin's got arthritis, and then
Mm,
yeah, exudes the music.
that's the kind of pain that, just can put a hole in your day,
Oh
you
yeah,
know. Good
right,
Lord. I hate that chronic crap,
right.
but prayers to you, Caitlin.
Yeah, yeah, Caitlin, you're welcome. We like to see our friends, channels growing, and I'm gonna
Yeah, yeah.
start doing some new things myself. I'm gonna throw in a few more pre-recorded stuff things too, maybe midweek, and
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, absolutely, man.
stuff out midweek. Still
Well, you
continue.
know what? I'll tell you what. If you were just to do that, that would double your output. Okay.
Mhm. Oh yeah,
Whenever I have doubled my output, I've grown. Okay.
right,
That's my experience so far. And
right.
because you people might be watching you because you take a look at your post numbers, you might
Right.
have so many people on tonight. but it's a couple of hundred that are watching it later, right? At the
Yes.
very least.
No,
And
no, yeah,
so
that's right.
and so out of those couple of hundred that are watching it, you know there's a high percentage that are not subscribers. Most of my viewers are not
Yeah,
my subscribers.
right.
My
Oh, yeah.
analytics tell me
Yeah.
that.
I
But
do
here's what
too.
I
It's like
notice.
50-50, 50-50.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But when they can count on you twice a week, oh, now you're on a different level.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's a YouTube fact, brother.
Yeah. No, that's right. Yeah. And
Yep.
I've been feeling that for a long time. It's just been finding the time.
I
I got
know,
to,
because you're out there still working while,
I'm still working,
yeah,
you know, and
I
I
hear you.
spend a lot of time in here on my computer and I'm neglecting other, well, things and people when I'm doing that, you know,
Yep.
but we're going to make it happen. So I have to give a shout out to my friend Angelo Lucetta here. Angelo, you know, I haven't seen Angelo in a while. Wait, well, I have a little bit, and I see him on Facebook. He's my friend on Facebook. Angelo, he's actually your police officer, right, Angelo? And Angelo is a huge Kiss fan, and you know, I used to have a, you know, I had four co-hosts, and they were all big Kiss fans, and it's a, you know, I miss some of the people that used to enjoy, you know, the Kiss aspect of the show back then.
Oh yeah.
And I mean, we had people that bought Kiss pinball machines, everything imaginable. They bought every Kiss album that was produced anywhere in the world. I mean, the collections that these guys have is just, and the collection of autographed albums and stuff is just amazing. I mean,
Well,
there is no more diehard fan than a Kiss fan. I mean, there really isn't. And the
well,
Kiss,
one of that gang even wrote a book, didn't he? Where you did a video and
oh yeah, 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 yeah,
yeah,
right,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. He's
I
an author.
remember that.
Yeah, yeah, we did a show on that, and we interviewed him. We talked about it, and
Yep.
that was a lot of fun. You know, I've done some Kiss shows, and they usually turn in pretty good numbers because the Kiss Army is just really loyal, and
Mhm.
you got to respect that, you know. But Angelo, I really appreciate you being here. Keep coming back, brother. I kind of missed you while you were gone. Thank you so much. So
Here's a
anyway,
question for Angelo.
okay,
Uh, okay, because now I'm not a big Kiss fan, but as I've said in my videos, they belong in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. They're valid, and
yeah,
to my ears, have put out a couple of really good, solid rock albums.
yeah,
And but that's about as far as I go with
right.
it. So I'm not a Kiss part of the Kiss Army. But Angela, what do you guys think? What do the fans think about Kiss eventually becoming Kiss 2? All right. 'Cause I'm dead set against it myself, but I would like to know, and maybe talk amongst yourselves even in the
Yeah.
comments. Is that something that you would find valid? Is four brand new Kiss members, no Gene, no Paul, no Peter, and certainly Ace is bye bye, and it's four brand new young studs up there carrying on. Because to me, I always thought that belonged in Hollywood.
Well, Paul
It,
Stanley,
it
of course,
it's
you're bringing this up because Paul Stanley speaks of that going forward, and
yeah.
yeah,
So has Gene. So has Gene.
that's right. Yeah, no, Gene Simmons in particular. I'm sorry, that's actually
Oh,
hard
okay.
to say, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you
And
know,
I just find that, see, you know me, Royce. I can go. I'm amazed. Oh boy, we got to there. Thank you. I'm um. I lost my train of thought. Go ahead. Go on.
oh no, all I was going to say is I've mentioned this before. Probably everybody already knows it, but my daughter married a musician, and
Right.
when they had their new baby, uh, his good friends. He was really good friends with like Eric Singer, the drummer for Kiss, Ryan Roxy, guitar player for Alice Cooper, Tommy Clufetis, the drummer for Ozzy and Black Sabbath, whatever he's touring as. And so he asked my daughter and her husband asked Eric Singer to be godfather to my new granddaughter, and they also asked Tommy Clufetis, drummer for Ozzy and Black Sabbath to be godfathers. Those two guys are godfathers. So, I got to know them both because of some, family get-togethers, Christmas things, and stuff like that. And when we went on our England vacation, European vacation, we didn't just go to England, but we were touring rock and roll sites in England. And probably the biggest reason we were there is my daughter booked all of places we were going to stay and when we were going to be there, and it just coincided with the end of the road tour by Kiss in London. So,
oh wow.
So we walked over to the hotel where Kiss was staying. Eric Singer came out and met us, and we started walking around London together. And they don't know me, and certainly Gene Simmons and them don't know me. So we got back to the hotel. Eric got off his phone and he says, "Hey, Stefan, Gene would like you to come up, say hi to him, And so my son-in-law got to go up and meet Gene Simmons and things like that. And they all went to the concert, and Betty and I babysat. But that was the deal.
Yeah.
So anyway, I got to know some of the guys, and Tommy Clufetis, the drummer for Ozzy, he's about the nicest man you'll ever meet. I mean, he's just a great guy, just a wild man on the drum set. And Eric's a great drummer too. His ranking has gone way up as far as top drummers are concerned. So anyway,
well, I understand the allure of Kiss. Are you kidding? I'm an Alice Cooper fan. So the makeup isn't what bothered me at all.
Yeah.
If that was part of it and whatever. It was the them, I don't know. It seemed that they allowed the business to change their approach too many times for me to really get into that. I was probably a little too old of a teenager when they came out. I saw their made-for-TV movie, and I'm a Marvel fan, buddy. I'm a comic book fan. And I saw, even as a teenager, I saw what they were going for-ish in that film, and it still sucked. And that didn't help. And I was an old enough teenager, it was like, nah, I won't have anything to do with Kiss. But looking back, man, if they had stayed to their roots, makeup on, I don't care. I love Bowie. I love Alice Cooper. You can do whatever you want. I'm all for theatrics, man. Theatrics don't bother me. But their lack of approach, especially as they, took off the makeup, then started firing this guy and that guy quit, this guy re-engaged. And to me, half a band. See, to me, Kiss is one of those bands. There's certain bands that can't afford to lose members. The Beatles. You can't have the Beatles without Ringo. All right?
Right.
You can't have Led Zeppelin without any of them. Name a Led Zeppelin member, you can't have them. That's why even with Bonham's son, they are merely a shadow, and a good shadow, a very good shadow. I mean, I love that show. I love John Bonham. Or Jason Bonham.
Celebration Day. As good as Jason was,
right. But my point, Royce, is that Kiss was one of those bands. You had 4 distinct members. And you can't go on without them. Some bands like Yes, oh boy, this guy's in. He left an hour ago, but he changed his mind, right? And those kind of bands have their own merit too. But there are certain bands, the way they were branded, what they stood for right from the beginning, the amount of fans for each and every one, despite the single Beth.
Right.
God, what a horrible song. But anyway,
I actually like that song, and I've got a video of my granddaughter singing it with Eric Singer at the concert.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's okay. I forgive you, but that's a pretty cool song. Like I said,
I heard that song the first time, and I went, "What?"
I wish I had that video with me. I'd make you watch it.
Oh God, I have seen that video, by the way. I've forgotten about it, but I have seen that.
Let me just take a look. I may have it. Okay,
Yeah.
here we go, folks. My granddaughter and Eric Singer singing down. Okay, we'll cut it off there. The keyboard player was Dizzy Gillespie, keyboard player with Guns N' Roses. Behind Eric and my granddaughter was Eric Dover, who played in Slash's Snake Pit, was the lead singer, and he's been in a lot of bands. And then, of course, you recognize the original drummer from Guns N' Roses back on the drum set. So anyway, it was fun. But
Spot on, Angelo.
Angelo's got this comment up.
Yep.
2.0 is not going to work. No Gene, no Paul, no Kiss. And I agree with him on that. I mean, you can't take those two key guys. The other people, the guys that left also still have big followings. I mean, big followings. And,
oh, yeah.
They were originals, But
Ace still sells out concerts. I mean,
well, he opened for Alice Cooper when I saw him last April.
Yeah. He's still busy too. I mean, he's been in a lot of projects and everything.
Yeah, that's right.
He's a survivor, man.
There was a funny part in the show where he was smoking on the guitar, and the guitar started actually smoking. Smoke was pouring out.
Yeah,
that was fun. But that was entertaining. I enjoyed it. It was a good opening act for Alice. So anyway, let's see. I think I got kind of lost in all of this. I'm trying to find where I was now. Okay,
Joe Cocker.
Look at Caitlin. Force Michael to watch it.
He just did.
No offense, brother. I just had to. I really didn't think I had that anymore.
Oh no, I think she's sweet as pie. And you know what? The song, the lyrics aren't bad. I mean, it's about a working musician who's in the studio. They got to get this track done. We got to finish this. And boy, I'm going to be in the doghouse, dear Bess. I understand that. I love it. It was the whole sound. It didn't sound like Kiss at all. And it was such a, who produced that? Was that Bob? Was that Bob? Yeah, Mr. Got to get his fingers in and turn it into a hit, Bob, right?
Right.
I think it was. Well, and he's done some great stuff, Royce. I'm not cutting him down, but man, that guy could go overhanded so easily. Ugh.
Yeah. Well, that venue where you just saw my granddaughter singing, it was my son-in-law that used to set all those shows up. This winery hired him to do that. And there was so many people that came and played. I mean, the drummer I always talk about, Tommy Clefettis, Eric Singer would be there drumming. Tommy would be there drumming. Slim Jim Phantom from the Stray Cats would be there trying to get on the drum set. And I always felt kind of sorry for Slim Jim because between Eric Singer and Tommy, they always kind of had the drum set. And at one point they'd together on the same drum set. And Slim Jim would be off to the side with a snare drum and a cymbal, you know. And
Well,
so
that was his gig.
I thought,
And he's one of my favorite drummers. He's like one of the
poor
ultimate
guy.
rockabilly drummers.
Yeah, no, that's right. And then one day I was watching a video of him performing, and he was playing a snare drum and a cymbal. Like you said, that was his gig. And it kind of blew my mind. I was feeling sorry for him for nothing.
Well, that was the whole Stray Cat sound, man.
Yeah.
That, that's what set the Stray Cats totally apart from anything at the time they were. It wasn't just a throwback. It was an honest tribute and ongoing creation of rockabilly. And you know what? Where the hell are the new people to take the mantle up from that? Because I sure as hell enjoyed them.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. But I mean, so many people came to those concerts at the winery. You know, Sebastian Bach came and he got up there and sang, and it was just, I mean, these were all guys that hung out in LA at the one club where this band my son-in-law was in played, you know. And there was a lot of people that they would just come in and out. Members of all kinds of bands would just come in and sit in with them. And those people were all showing up at this venue, you know. It was fun, yeah. So anyway, moving right along here. Now Spinning TV just joined us. Check this out. What are your thoughts about Josh Freese joining Foo Fighters as their new drummer?
Well, I think he's only their new drummer for live shows. I don't think he's been offered full membership. I think it's way too soon to offer a full membership after the death of. No, you can't. No, that would almost be dishonorable. But I'm not aware of his drumming capabilities, to be honest with you. But you know, if the Foo Fighters hired him, I'm sure he's good. Yeah. I'm sure they feel like they got a great sound. They always put their utmost into their shows. So
yeah,
I wouldn't let that stop me from seeing them.
No, that's right. Yeah, totally. Yeah, thanks for bringing that up now, Spinning. We appreciate that. What I'm going to show next, getting back to the Fillmore East, and this is a great album. I had this as a teenager, and that's John Mayall, The Turning Point. The Turning Point. And who could forget that iconic song? It's the last track on this album, Room to Move, the harmonica playing. Anytime anybody's ever asked me, you know, who's a good harmonica player or who should I try to learn from or copy, I say, John Mayall, Room to Move. You got to hear that, you know? Yeah. And John Mayall's great. I mean, I have a copy of John Mayall and the Blues Breakers with Eric Clapton, and it's a collector's edition from England. And it's a great album. And there's a whole thing of like liner notes about how Eric Clapton was in the Yardbirds. We all know that prior to joining Mayall, and the Yardbirds were starting to achieve financial success. And Eric Clapton just was, you know, he was really disappointed with he didn't want that. He just wanted to play pure blues, you know? And that's why he got together with John Mayall, considered one of the best blues bands, John Mayall and the Blues Breakers, in England. And they were true blues artists, you know, maybe the best one from England. And like so many English bands, they studied the blues to death, you know, before they arrived on our shores, you know, as part of the British invasion and beyond. But Eric Clapton, he came away from the Yardbirds as a well-respected guitarist, but his work with John Mayall and the Blues Breakers just took him to the stratosphere.
Oh yeah, and you know that was a good move on his part. That was the beginning of his metamorphosis, and we would see several from Eric. That's why he's one of my top favorite guitar players of all time. He's in the top 3 or 4. I redid my list not too long ago, but he always used to be my 3rd favorite guitar player for most of my life. I would my old list was Jimmy Page #1, Jeff Beck #2, and you know, am I a Yardbirds fan? Not necessarily. I'm not that into their discography, to be perfectly honest with you. I discovered these guitarists after they left the Yardbirds and then went back
Right.
to the Yardbirds later to catch on, and they were brilliant. The
Right.
Yardbirds were brilliant.
Yeah.
I missed them.
Yeah.
I missed them, but I rediscovered them for myself anyway, due to these gods of guitar.
Right.
The three, the holy three, right?
Yeah. No, I've got Hendrix. I've got Hendrix right in there with Page.
Right, and Hendrix went up and one went down, and Hendrix was always number 4, and always threatening to go to number 1. I mean, that I really you hear me talk about Led Zeppelin a whole lot, especially Jimmy Page as a guitarist on my channel. Royce, I'll say it right now, I am a major Jimi Hendrix fan. His skill and where he brought guitar. I love the story. Townsend from The Who went over to Eric Clapton, and he says, how does it feel when, right after the both of them saw Jimi Hendrix, and he went to Eric Clapton, he says, how does it feel to be out of a job? Right. So and Electric Ladyland, which it seems like a lot of fans don't choose that album as their favorite Jimi Hendrix album. And all I can say is his other albums are works of art that should be hanging in a museum. Electric Ladyland should be hanging in the Louvre. You've heard me say that before. It's a masterpiece in every sense of the word. And another great example, all right? We've been talking about this on my channel. Rock and roll needs a freaking infusion. And how do you get it? You get it from chaos. All right?
Right.
And that whole thing was created from pure chaos in the studio. Oh, the stories, and it shows, and its scars are wonderful to behold. You know, that's his finest album, bar none, and one of them truly. I'll put it up against Dark Side of the Moon. You can put it up with Abbey Road. You can put it up with Sgt. Pepper. All right.
Right.
Name your favorite album in rock, and I'll put it up against that. That's how good that album is.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
This was this turning point describes what was going on with John Mayall's band then. I mean, he reached a turning point. You know, he actually turned away from the heavier guitar sound and heavier drum sound, and he mellowed it down a little bit. This was a real turning point in style for him, you know, and it's really interesting, you know.
Candide was great.
There's too much here to read, but anyway, so John Mayall, I loved his stuff. I've got, I don't know, I know I have at least, I think I have 3 of his albums. And, you know, Canned Heat was great. I bought a record store day Canned Heat, and it was all like, you know, Willie Dixon, Muddy Waters, you know, covers, and it was just amazing. You know? Yeah.
I just did a video on the newer bands need to reconnect with the blues, because notice how much blues we're talking about right now,
I know,
folks, without ever mentioning the word blues. Think about all the blues we've just talked about. That always has to be a cornerstone to rock. And if any of the newer bands are missing it. Oh, and by the way, I was over in the gallery. I wasn't actually on his show. Okay. My monster is showing. But over at Canadian Stud Muffin, and they were talking about you know, some of the albums and everything that were really turning them on and everything. I just couldn't believe how many of those albums and musicians are all so blues based, man. You got to have that, and you got to have Appalachia. You got to have the poor white folk portion mixed in with the blues. Speed it up, baby. Thrash it out, and you got rock and roll.
Absolutely.
Ballads can come later, or ballads should be sparse.
Right.
You know?
Well, you know, Man of Many Voices. I love that name too.
Yeah, me too.
Hanging in a museum, they should always be spinning on your turntable.
There you go, brother.
I think we all agree with that. Okay. ELL is my fave Hendrix. Okay.
Good. Yeah. Yeah, me too, by far.
Electric
What a
Ladyland.
masterpiece.
Well, it is great. I have to admit, I need to. I've got it. You know, I've got all the Hendrix studio albums, which what is it, three, right? Uh,
Yeah.
but having said that, I have I think 15 Hendrix albums, and
Well, you know, with all the people that had their fingers into the recording of Electric Ladyland and
right.
Jimmy's mindset that he could not translate to people he at that point knew very well. And
Wow.
all of that chaos.
Right.
Why does that album sound like every song was recorded in one day with a golden tone that matches from track one to track two?
Yeah.
Please,
Right.
somebody, that's called the magic in rock and roll, people, right there. There's a magic that happens every once in a while, and that's why we're still spinning them on our turntables. We're
Yeah.
listening to them digitally. We're
Right.
listening to CDs, 60 for in some cases
Right.
60 plus years, and from the early stuff even longer than that, man.
Yeah.
It's an art form.
Oh yeah. Well,
Yes, it
look.
is.
I'm jealous here. Man of Many Voices has about 20 male LPs. Wow. I'm
Wow.
impressed. I'm impressed.
Okay. Ooh. We know good. You master, not us.
You know, and incidentally, Man of Many Voices, a very knowledgeable guy. He's got a YouTube channel, folks. We all need to go check out Man of Many Voices and say hi to him there. And yeah, let's build his show up. Let's all build Man of Many Voices show up. Record Hound. Um, yeah, let's help everybody. I've been doing a lot of contests for my friends in the VC where you just I did one last night and put it up, and it wasn't too hard. You had to show an album with a green cover, and I chose John Mayall and the Blues Breakers with Eric Clapton, incidentally, and uh, and then give 5 shout outs. And so I gave 5 shout outs, and of course, number one was Michael Nolan, my co-host here
Thank you.
tonight. And I got Caitlin, and I got Dan McNew, and R&B show, and Wayne over at Soul Train Bro. I've been going to his show. He disappeared for a while, as you know, and
Do
he's
you
back.
know Wayne at Soul Train Bro is the reason my channel grew?
You've told me that, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. One of my subscribers, Helene, thank you, Helene, shared one of my videos with him. At the time, he had 20,000 subscribers. At the time, I had been on YouTube for about 6 months, and I had, I think, 700 subscribers by then. And he shared two of my videos. Not only shared them, he would watch it and comment on my videos. And within 3 months, I was at 5,000 subscribers. And so I am beholden to
Yeah.
Wayne. If you guys like content creators that are honest, straight in your face, and have some
Oh yeah.
integrity,
Yeah.
somebody that you want to invest in and
Right.
join, all right, Wayne. And don't let the name Soul Train Bro fool you. He's
You're
all
right.
about rock and roll.
Oh yeah.
He's a black man who was raised not on rock and roll, but discovered it for himself, right? And he is so freaking knowledgeable
Yeah.
and a man of honor. And I am beholden to him until the day I die. That's all I can say.
Yeah. No,
What a guy.
I really enjoy his show. Yeah.
Yep.
He's
And
unleashed.
Rachel's ghost, you gave her a shout out too.
Yeah, I gave Rachel a shout out. She's my good friend too, and she's helped me get subscribers. And I'm always welcome to come into her show and actually jump on the show as a co-host and things like that. And I've had fun there. I've done some impersonations and things like that.
Yeah, yeah.
But anyway, so yeah, so let's we've got to look at this now because time is getting tight. And this is the Who live at the Fillmore East, 1968. And this is there's so much on this. It's just crazy. It's a 3-album set once again. Okay. And some of these songs, they really get long when you're doing them live. I mean, sometimes a song is an entire track. It's 19 minutes long or so. But you, this
Well,
is this.
the Who live was known for extending their stuff,
Yeah,
and
that's exactly
yeah.
right. Fillmore East just pull that out in people. You know,
Hmm.
Bill Graham. I mean, I'm sorry. He just created, I mean, perfect acoustics, beautiful sound system, excellence from everybody. And when you went there and played, you wanted to actually, you know, do the best performance you've ever done in your life because
How, how
you felt
how
like
would
that
you
was.
compare this album to Live at Leeds, sonically and everything?
Um, I'm gonna have to. I'm
Because
gonna
I
have
haven't heard it. You know.
right, right, right. I don't have an answer on that right now. I'm working on another one that I'm going to do a comparison on, and I'm telling you, there's a lot of work goes into that. As far for me, there is okay. Like I'm listening to each song as many as 5 times back to back on these two versions, and I'm standing in the middle of the room sometimes with my eyes closed, surrounded by 6 speakers from a 7.2 big Yamaha surround sound system and great clip speakers and things like that. And I tell you what, I mean, the sound is good, especially if you're standing in the middle of the room with your eyes closed, you know.
Wow.
And
Yeah.
and so I'm doing this A/B comparison, and I want to start doing more of that kind of stuff, you know.
Yeah.
So I'm working on that now, but it takes time. I mean, I had to listen to some of those songs over and over and over again, you know. And I'm only like, you know, I'm not even halfway through. But anyway,
Well,
so
now you know what an engineer goes through, brother.
right, right.
Yep.
But I'll get back. I will get back to you on that. Okay. But
Yeah. Hey, Royce, that would be a great idea for a video for you. I think you
no,
get
no,
some
no.
views on it.
It is going to be a video. That is the
Yeah.
plan, and maybe more than one.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So this great stuff here.
Those are the lads.
Those are the lads. Yes, there they are. And
John
another.
Entwistle looks actually rather dapper in that photo.
He does.
You know, actually, no. Sometimes he could take a real goofy picture. You know,
Yeah, that's right.
but he looks pretty good in that one. I like him there.
No, he really does. Yeah, yeah, he really does.
He actually looks sober. The rest of them look like they're deranged.
He he looks like the normal one for a change.
Oh God, and what a bass player! Oh,
Yeah, that's right.
oh God, what a bass player! Oh man,
What a rhythm section there, you know.
what a rhythm set. Well, they're number 2 in my book.
Yeah.
There, I did a video on that, and the only rhythm section that beat them would have been John Bonham and John Paul Jones.
Yeah, yeah.
And boy,
you know what, Michael?
that was even splitting hairs, brother.
I agree
That
with
was
you
even
all the time.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I
Boy.
feel the same way about the bands you do. But I'm gonna read the albums here. The albums. I'm gonna read the songs here off these 3 albums. Starts out Summertime Blues, Fortune Teller, Tattoo, Little Billy, I Can't Explain, Happy Jack, and Relax. And that's album number 1. Number 2, I'm a Boy, a Quick One, while he's away, a quick one while he's away. I like that. My Way, Come On Everybody, Shaken All Over, and Boris the Spider.
John Entwistle strikes again.
Yeah. Album 3, a 17-minute, 4-second version of My Generation. So that's one whole side. And then guess what's on the other side? My Generation Part 2, 16 minutes and 8 seconds.
Oh my God.
I know. Isn't that crazy? Isn't that crazy?
Now, The Who was one of those bands that to me, they were like 2 bands. They were first the Mod Who, and then there was the Rock Who. And I got into them after they were already Rock Who. Yeah. And so their mod period sounded a little, at that point to me, I guess, a little old fashioned. Yeah. And in my vocabulary in my teens, the only old-fashioned band, the most old-fashioned that I'd listen to were early Beatle albums, out of respect, of course.
Right.
But I didn't spend a lot of time after the first couple of years of being a Beatle fan,
Yeah,
listening to their older, by the time I was 16 or 17, it was pretty much anything from,
right,
well, I was still listening to Help at that point, a near masterpiece, I
right,
say,
right, right,
not quite a masterpiece.
right.
The masterpiece would come, on the next album, but I would listen from Help forward most of
Yeah,
the
yeah.
time.
Some of these sleeves are kind of cool too. The Who at Fillmore.
All cool.
Yeah, and then like a set list here, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's just so much to read on all these covers and sleeves.
That's an old photo of a tape box, isn't it?
Let's see. Let's see. Track breakdown.
Yeah, I think so.
I don't know. Maybe.
I think, yeah, it looks like that's what they did, is they just took a photo of what would be on top of the stored tape or something. That's cool.
Okay, so that's the Who. Now, this one's a little different than I'm going to show next here, and the reason why it's different is because it's a 2-album set. One album was recorded in the studio, and one album was filmed live. One album was filmed live at the Fillmore East, and I didn't know that until recently. But that album is the Cream, Wheels of Fire.
Yeah.
And so we'll take a look at what I'm talking about here. Okay, let's see. Yeah,
God, what a sound to disappear so quickly, huh, Royce?
Right.
Cream?
No, that's exactly right. Okay. Yeah, no, I was really disappointed because the Cream was a total game changer for me when they came out. And I know it wasn't the first album, but I heard the Disraeli Gears first, from the Cream.
Yeah.
And I immediately went out and bought the 8-track. I bought that and Bayou Country from Creedence at the same time. And
I think their first album should have been Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No. I was just going to say, it just changed my music listening direction, those 2 albums.
Yeah. I was just going to say, I think their first album should have been named Clash of the Egos,
Right.
I mean, they had everything to go with them, except that they really didn't they basically couldn't stand each other there at the end.
I'm not sure. Sure. I know that
I seem to remember that I'm drawing a blank. Drummer, one of the greatest drummers in the world. Cream drummer.
Ginger
Bruce.
Baker.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, he wasn't getting along with Clapton. There was something about
yeah.
And
now that you were talking about Ginger Baker, I'm kind of agreeing with you. Because
that was him through and through with just about anybody he worked through. So it was going to be dicey to have him in a long-term relationship anyway. But as I recall, I'm trying to remember, but I tend to remember there was a lot of 2 people disagreeing strongly with the third guy, and that barometer would slide around the group like a spinning top,
Yeah, that's exactly right. I want to tell Chris Elliott, he wants to give someone a shout out, channel that may be of interest to everyone here. And I'm going to say, Chris, go right ahead. Put it up there. RSD, Record Store Day release from the Who. You know what, Manny, I did not know that. My Record Store Day store here in town is kind of small. They have another store up in Paso Robles.
I think he's asking if it was a Record Store Day release. Isn't he? Yeah.
No, it may have been, but that's not where I got it. I just ordered it online. Yeah, it may have been. That's interesting. I was 40 seconds behind. No kidding. Caitlin. Okay. So, hey, we just got joined by our buddy, Royce. Why was F East closed down? The Fillmore East. Why was the Fillmore East closed down? That's a really good question. I'm always focused on it being open and all the wonderful performances and all the people that came out of it. And even as I was reading tonight, It finally just said, and it closed on such and such, and it didn't really say why. That's a really good question, Manny. That's a really good question. I hate to say it, but I don't have the answer to it. I mean, they were going strong.
I'm not aware either.
Yeah. So our good friend Jeff Davidson's just joined us. Great, Jeff. Good to see you,
Hey,
buddy.
Jeff.
Good to see you. You talk about a storehouse of knowledge when it comes to music. Jeff Davidson. Oh man, you've been on when he was on before, haven't you, Michael? It's been a
I
while.
don't think so.
Oh, okay.
I don't think so.
Yeah. Okay.
But I like people who know more than me.
Yeah, I know.
Because yeah.
Yeah. No, that's exactly right. You know, Manny, yeah, Cream was only together for 2 years. And yeah, by the time Clapton left and they were doing this last album, Goodbye, that we were just talking about, where Clapton, where everybody in the band was, no, I'm sorry, this is Wheels of Fire. Anyway, Clapton was already recording with Blind Faith before he even left that band.
Yeah.
You know,
That sounds a bit like Clapton.
Yeah,
wasn't he practically recording with the Dominoes before the George Harrison All Things Must Pass recordings were over? I mean, that's where he found the Dominoes, you know. So that's Eric Clapton, though. You know, he's in the sessions with George Harrison. Oh, Carl Radle. Oh, good. Wow, cool. Nice to meet you. You know, Bobby Whitlock. Why? You're a nice guy. You know, he's already thinking. That's Clapton, man. He's always got his left foot out the back door as his right foot's entering into the front door. I mean, he's made a career of it.
Right. No,
and it's part of his brilliance, Royce. I'm not criticizing.
No. I know you're not. You have to do what you have to do. I mean, it's
yeah.
You know. Well, I got to give a shout out here to my buddy Eddie's Physical Media Talk. And Eddie's got a fun show. He plays great music on his show. And everybody take a look at Eddie's Physical Media Talk. You will enjoy it. I guarantee you will enjoy it. I wouldn't lie to you either. How you doing, Eddie? Thanks a lot for stopping by. I really appreciate it. Good to see you.
He honest.
Yeah, he honest. Yeah, Eddie's a good guy. Eddie's a good guy. Eddie does what a number of channels do, and they play live music from start to finish the whole time they're on, and albums, and yeah. So there's a few of them that I like. I like Mr. Bizarro. He's got a fun show. He plays a lot of music, and some others too. Let's see, who am I trying to think of? Patrick, the Vinyl Archivist. He plays music. Keeps it a little down low so the chat can continue through it, But that's kind of interesting too.
Yeah, he stays in contact with the chat a bit. I've caught a couple of his. I like Patrick. He's a no bullshit kind of guy, and just says it kind of square on. Whether you agree with him or not, you know the thought is well thought out. And yeah, I've caught several of his. Great show.
And he knows vinyl,
Oh yes, he does.
Yeah. As does Massey,
oh yeah.
On Rachel's show, he knows he's great, and
oh yeah. Yeah, Massey is like, oh, he's great. I love his whole thing. He was on Stud Muffin today. Canadian Stud Muffin. Okay. Yeah, they had Rachel up, Glenn Calloway from the basement.
Oh, okay.
And they invited me up, but I was setting up to be here. So it would have kind of interfered with what you were doing, because they were, I think they had shut down by the time your stream was on, but I was setting up. This doesn't always look this wonderful. I have to get ready for my close-up, Mr. Jamil.
So anyway,
my home studio is modular. So when I'm not on camera, you've got, I've got lights up here and lights over here and, tripods right here. You wouldn't recognize the place.
Right. Well, on this Cream Wills of Fire album, like I said, the first, it's a double album set. The first album's is in the studio, and the second album is live at the Fillmore East. So I'm just going to read the
Oh,
songs
cool.
real quick that were live at the Fillmore East. Okay, we have Crossroads, we have Spoonful, two great blues songs, and then on side 4, live at the Fillmore, we have Train Time and Toad. So that's one of 2 albums was live at the Fillmore East on the Cream
Wow.
of Fire. And that's all the albums I have to show that have anything to do with the Fillmore East. And
Yeah.
I know 50 albums
No.
were recorded live there. And I mean everybody. I'll just skip through here. I mean, well, of course, Hendrix, Humble Pie, Jefferson,
Aretha Franklin.
Janis
Aretha
Joplin,
Franklin. Yep.
Aretha Franklin, Janis Joplin, Big Brother and the Holy Company.
Those 2 were in the top list. Janis Joplin and
Yeah,
Aretha were in
yeah.
the top 10 as well.
Okay, Mike Cooper, Al Bloomfield, that were part of Super
Mm.
Sessions along with Stephen Stills. Let's see, Grateful Dead. They were almost like a house band. They played there so often. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 albums in a row here from the Grateful Dead that were recorded live there. Miles Davis, Derek and the Dominoes. And I looked for that. I passed on it a few times in the past, over the past year or so. And I was looking for Derek and Dominoes recorded live at the film. And it wasn't anywhere to be found as far as used. Flying Burrito Brothers, again, Grateful Dead. The Almond Brothers, Eat a Peach. Eat a Peach was live at the Fillmore East. That was a popular album too. I remember that.
Yes, it was.
Of course, the one that Angela bought me. We got the Chambers Brothers, Joe Cocker, Mad Dogs and Englishmen, Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young, Miles Davis again. Oh my God, Duane Allman on the Fillmore's East final weekend.
Oh, wow.
Here's a little story from Duane Allman about the final weekend. So anyway,
What was the date on that?
Okay, that's let's see. You know what? That once again we're striking out on these closing dates.
Wow.
Uh,
Yeah.
Anyway, so
I
Duane
mean,
Allman,
him playing there on their final date, and it couldn't have been too far off, especially if he was playing solo.
right?
It couldn't have been far off, for his final date, huh?
So okay, let's just see what Duane Allman on the Fillmore East final weekend says. Bill Graham's original Fillmore Auditorium on the West Coast, the Fillmore East quickly, as the Bill Graham's original Fillmore Auditorium on the West Coast, the Fillmore East quickly became an important venue on the fledgling rock music circuit in the late 60s because of its excellent acoustics, the enthusiastic and attentive audience, and Graham's innovative way of handling the concert environment. The hall became a favorite spot for the recording of many live albums. Greg Allman, Dickie Betts, on why they recorded their first live album here. We realized that we got better sound live and that we're a live band. And we realized that the audience was a big part of what we did. There was no question about where to record a concert. New York crowds have always been great. What made the Fillmore special was Bill Graham. He was the best promoter rock ever had, and you could feel his influence in every little single thing in the Fillmore. It was just special. The band felt it, the crowd felt it, and it lit all of us, really. It was great sounding room and a great crowd. The Fillmores, East and West, were so professionally run compared to anything else at the time. And he would gamble on acts, bringing in jazz, blues. He'd taken a chance on the brothers, And
Yeah.
what allowed like Albert King and Freddie King and BB King and all these people to finally get to be accepted at the Fillmore East was like work by John Mayall and the Blues Breakers and all the covers they were doing.
Yeah.
Those covers that they did, some people say, well, they kind of ripped off the blues, but the blues grew in prominence because these rock icons were playing their music. Everybody benefited.
Right. Yeah, I agree. My only thing on that is that yes, the blues were ripped off. Blues artists were ripped off. Led
Yeah.
Zeppelin did it, and everybody
Well,
else on the
yeah. And
planet.
everybody else, and they ripped off
Yeah,
each other even before,
yeah,
you know.
yeah. But at the same time,
Yeah.
not only I know you can't say, well, everybody else does it isn't a good excuse,
No,
right?
no, no,
And
that's not
I
excuse
hear
at
that.
all.
But the thing is there is something to what you're saying there, Boyce, is the blues in America to the general, especially pop and rock young people,
Yeah.
was dead. Nobody, I mean, you'd have your audiophiles who knew them or
Oh, yeah,
older
yeah.
fans, but
Right.
the truly, we weren't listening to the blues. We were
No.
listening to the Beach Boys. All
Right.
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 Jan and Dean.
Oh,
All right.
yeah.
That's what we were listening to. You
Absolutely.
know, this diamond ring doesn't shine for me anymore. Right.
Right. Right.
That's what we were listening to.
Oh,
Then
yeah.
The Beatles softened our resolve against the blues because even though they were predominantly pop rock,
Right.
it was blues based. It was more hillbilly blues based, but it was still, the Carl
Yeah.
Perkins sound. Like I
Yeah. Yeah.
said, Appalachia, baby. All right.
Right.
So they got all of that together. And then England and their
Right.
hottest musicians who never forgot the blues. They were
Right.
grabbing those discs off the Cunard Yanks and by the dozens, right?
Right. Right.
And guitarists, serious young guitarists who couldn't read a note, taking every riff and then refashioning it
Yeah.
and then throwing it in our faces. And at the time of these Fillmore performances, that's what we wanted to hear, you know?
That's
And
what we
I
wanted to
did
hear.
become, I knew Chuck Berry, right? But I didn't know too much about Muddy Waters, never heard of Scott Joplin,
Right.
or Robert Johnson. I didn't know there was a Robert Johnson on the planet that had
No,
ever
I
lived.
know. Yeah.
But it's because of that melding, and yes, many times unfairly, and the ripoffs of the music industry has always existed.
Yeah.
But
Oh,
I
yeah.
think it was good for blues because now
Oh,
blues
yeah.
is still, even though it's not the predominant style in
Yeah.
America right now, it
Right.
has a ton of live audience fans all
Oh,
over the place. So I
absolutely.
think it helped save the blues
It did.
in a way.
I got so into the blues. I joined the San Luis Obispo Blues Society, and
Yeah,
they would have
yeah.
like monthly concerts, and there was always, kind of a headliner there, like a Junior Wells or, Coco Taylor or, people
Well,
that were prominent, in the blues.
yeah.
And
Well,
and
I learned to play as a musician at jam sessions. All right,
okay,
that's how you do it. You get out there and you mix with people who are a lot better than you. I was relegated to rhythm guitar, second rhythm guitarist often because we'd have 5 or 6 guitar players, a couple of bass players, 3 or 4 drummers, and we'd all rotate. And we would do these block parties, man. And I'm
oh,
going to guarantee you, 99% of what we play in those were sped up blues stuff. One,
right,
four,
right,
five progressions,
yeah,
pentatonic scale based, get in there. And a few of us NO people had by that time discovered
right,
the
right,
devil's note, the flatted fifth, but it's all
right.
blues, baby. It's all blues.
All blues, yeah,
Yep.
yeah, yeah. The rock got us into the blues. I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
I wasn't into the blues before that. I was into soul. I got into soul music. Went through a soul, phase, which was vastly different than the blues. But anyway,
I was
I've
into soul by default. A
yeah,
lot of soul was popular. So I liked a
right,
lot of the popular soul, but I was never into soul and buying the albums that the
yeah,
aficionados were in. But what I
right, right,
liked, I
right.
loved. I loved.
Yeah, same here. Anyway,
Yeah.
guys, Michael, thanks a lot for joining me. I really appreciate that. I
Thanks for having
really,
me, Royce.
yeah, you're welcome anytime, brother. And I just want to say to everybody, thank you guys all for joining us. We've been going for an hour and a half now, and we really appreciate everybody in the chat. Yeah, hit the like button. That would be awesome. It helps us get noticed and helps us to get recommended to people that are searching for content. Okay, so
Yes,
that's
it does.
important. It grows. It can grow your channel. Helps grow your channel. So anyway, guys, I want to thank everybody. Jeff Davidson, great show. Thank you so much for saying that, Jeff. We really appreciate you showing up.
Thank you, Jeff.
Jeff, like Caitlin, is like family. We all came from another place, another source. And so anyway, so I just want to thank everybody one last time. And
Stay well, Caitlin.
that's what's going on in Royce's world today. Good night, everybody. And thank you once again for joining us. Night, Michael.